Black reality television has been one of the most iconic parts of media since the founding of television regarding reality circumstances, originating in the earliest piece of reality television being College Hill, airing on BET in 2004, presenting Black college students unfiltered while navigating through academic life. Being one of the first prevalent and official Black reality shows has paved the way to a generation of Black TV. Over time, reality TV media emerged with Black representation or Black-centered television, setting a new boundary for African Americans in media other than simple sidelined characters. How are people of color, especially women of color, portrayed through reality TV? Through the guise of white producers and a targeted audience of African Americans, is the depiction earnest and nuanced through the portrayal, or is it simply negative tropes and identities? I believe that although there are concepts of women of color who are affluent, these unique genres of shows present recycled tropes and stereotypes of women of color, inflating controlling images for Black women to current day pop culture and to young women to view bodies and not mind over autonomy. Moreover, the capital dramatization of Black identities formulaically highlight the negative imagery rather than nuanced images of women of color. What is a famous meme or iconic image that you have seen on the internet from any television show? Some chances are that you have seen memes made most famous by a woman of color from many different media platforms, from Twitter to TikTok. Many different memes that are made famous are from the same reality TV show series. One example is Blac Chyna from the Blac Chyna series from Zeus Network, leading to a severe altercation during the scene with she had a fight with her mother. With these memes stemming from shows such as The Real Blac Chyna or Real Housewives of Atlanta, such as memes like the Who Said That meme or I Said What I Said by Nene Leakes during a housewife reunion. Many iconic comedic images, although are the zeitgeist of pop culture and social media culture, they are all often originating from some form of altercation or spat. Not to say that these memes come from only an altercation, but what does this say about famous African American memes from reality television coming from some form of drama or fight? Black memes are often more sensationalized and used more due to being funnier, but these memes are often used by non-Black people in the same manner in which is defined as digital blackface, a new phenomenon of the new age minstrel through digital imagery from non-Black people being made for laughs or for joking, but at the sake of using blackface for laughs at their expense. With Black women, this can often hurt their image with the way that others see them from the perspective of being laughed at and not with. One of the most poignant things presented within reality series are their storylines. These are often concepts that are manufactured from ideas through each actor or individual that they bring onto the show for a specific purpose or plot importance. Many of these plot elements follow a specific pattern that make an identity that aligns with the controlling images made by supremacist frameworks. Collins states, controlling images of women through the cult of womanhood can end the identity of the traditional family ideal. True women possess 4 cardinal virtues: piety, purity, submissiveness, and domesticity. Property white women and those of emerging middle class were encouraged to aspire to these virtues. The women of color image are presented as the complete opposite format. For example, one poignant framework was through the mammy figure, a dark-skinned woman who was under the range of plus size, but tended to the children of the pious and virtuous white woman, having a strong affinity for the family that she cares for, and juxtaposed to her own kin, which she cares less for, moreover, in an affinity to her position of servitude to the owner. She was not a sexual being, asexual in social nature, not having any love or sexual desire, but a familial care for the family that she cares for. In complete opposition to this is the role of the matriarch. As overly aggressive, unfeminine women, black matriarchs allegedly emasculated their lovers and husbands. This is reconstructed through the lens of the Sapphire, a woman of the same origin of anger. She was a woman of brute rage. She is shown as a bitch, always fighting or getting into some form of conflict. She was even then backdrop foil. She was the nag. She was there to soften the images of black men, to make them seem vulnerable, easygoing, funny, and unthreatening to the white audience. She was there as a man in drag, as a castrating bitch, as someone to be lied to, someone to be tricked, someone the white and black audience could hate, scapegoated on all sides. She was not us. Many of the imagery displayed within domestic television genre displays much of the Sapphire lens through a specific construct and image of women. For example, much of the character shown through Mrs. Nene Leakes of The Real Housewives of Atlanta was often portrayed as a villainous lens, showing a catty, bourgeois, and grandiose character with lots of attitude. Being originally the sole dark-skinned woman on the series, she was shown to be an adversary. Laughing at this recycled stereotype seemed to be a face of most of the popular parts of the culture. These similar sentiments are shown through the lens of colorism within the Women of the Potomac series, also presenting colorist ideology and through the way that light brown or biracial women are the catty girls against the dark-skinned women. Also known as the green-eyed bandits, Giselle and Robin play into the roles that they present as being women known to gossip or presenting a lot of rumors against the other women. Occupation television follows a blended framework of domestics, television, and storylines regarding the occupations of the actor, functioning around that scripted career or career of a previous background. But how are these identities shaped? Well, pretty much the same. Love and hip-hop functions under a dramatized concept of black life through the lens of hip-hop and hip-hop culture. Since hip-hop already followed the realm of male-favored ideas, this followed through a heightened sensation construct of hip-hop as well. Many of the females on the series follow under a lens of traditional hip-hop hierarchy. Although they produce music of their own, their specific niches were heavily sexual. Many of the shots of the series and the attire of the women are displayed very, very sexually. Love and Drama and Tears, Hip-Hop Feminism by Patrick D. Bennett analyzes the narrative of the series, showing an analysis of the earlier seasons through this framework of hip-hop feminism. The utilization of hip-hop feminism as theory offers more complex concepts for representation of blackness in hip-hop reality television and hip-hop culture. Since black women are often most presented via stereotypical scripts, they have limited agency to express their voices. This is problematic because black women need representation that depicts the diverse experiences of black women in society. Storylines are shown with numerous counts of infidelity and constant highlights of aggressive behavior, especially conflicts and fights by the women. Poignant stories for the women are often the victim of the men's infidelity, the turmoil of this cheating and sexual deviancy throughout the men's storylines, and thus become a breeding ground to exaggerate the Sapphire towards each other, following the misogyny of hip-hop culture. The relationship between Stevie J and Joseline is characterized of sexual, physical, and emotional control, which is reminiscent of Jackson 2006 description of the pimp whore complex. All of the women around Stevie J's narrative are exposed to his constant hypersexual behavior, specifically through many women of Latin backgrounds, as a repeating pattern of the spicy Latina stereotype, especially depicted through the character of Joseline with the nickname the Puerto Rican Princess, while Mimi, another woman of color, has to deal with the sapphire black woman pining for Stevie J. This brings up the question discussed in The Advocate's WAP Objectification or Empowerment, in which the reinstatement of dominating male culture in hip-hop is female rap identities just heightened misogyny or the cold truth of ownership of women under rappers. Mainstream music normalizes lyrics about men treating women as objects to be used for their bodies and tossed aside, sending the message to young boys and girls that it's okay for men to own their sexualities and take control. When a woman does the same, they are not to be respected. Other storylines, such as marital affairs, are also portrayed negatively within Rashida and Kirk, having to deal with cheating in numerous cases.
Told you to do you.
You saying do me, get the out of here, don't come back, do what you want to do you.
You really think that's smart?
Why would you say go about your business, do you? Do what the you want to do. Why would you say all that?
At the end of the day, I'm saying,
why would you say
what else am I going to say to you? What else am I going to do?
So why would it be a problem?
And finally, the most popular thing within many occupation shows is, of course, the altercations. Moreover, many other occupation television shows follow the construct as well. Storylines that feel human with an affluent color, but ultimately they fall under the same umbrella. The series that shows the most prevalent of the controlling images is through the Competition and Big Brother series, specifically the Bad Girls Club series. Heavily prominent through the trope of the Sapphire and the Jezebel, the entire premise of the series is women of diverse age, race, and size residing in a mansion, as with the concept of the girls being, unquote, the baddest out of the region they reside from. The production of the show purposefully manipulates behind the scenes to force women who have animosity to each other to result in fighting. One example is through the iconic character being Tanisha, as she suffered through the manipulation of the Sapphire and fat phobia through her season, where she was pinned against Genevica, a thin white woman, and Lyric, another thin woman and a woman of color, who, during a reunion scene, constantly made fun of her weight and instigated an altercation between the two. Good Girls Gone Bad states, the premise of BGZ is a paradox within itself. While the show attempts to rehabilitate women, the show ultimately invites viewers, mostly men and young girls, to gaze at its subjects' bad behavior under a blurred lens. Despite having an original premise as a form of redemption, the series reverts to this capital gain and a shift to simple fighting fest for others to watch, with later seasons focusing the women constantly going to clubs and following the idea that those women are the hottest women, being able to perform sexual activities for men better than other women, even with seasons presenting a counselor to help the ladies through their issues in some sort of rehabilitation. Evidently, none of it matters in the end because the girls would just resist and go back to fighting, as that is more engaging, especially with the director and producer being a non-black man who has a racial bias about minority women and fame. In this sense, specifically white male director Jonathan Murray uses his power and influence as a well-known reality television agent and producer to reinforce minority women as angry bitches, reinforcing privilege and power as generally white males, in that they literally and physically cast women for this show. These women he codes as bad girls are usually minority women cast to portray to the public that most bad girls are black, Latina, Creole, and or other racial minorities who are violent and fame hungry. In a similar sense, the show by the name of Flavor of Love, a competition show following the rapper Flavor Flav on a quest to find the woman to be in love with him, bringing both tropes as well as previous narratives of the villain and media engagement manipulation, with the character Tiffany New York being a dark-skinned woman portrayed very villainous, almost dominant, possessive character towards Flav, which, although very comedic and made for the aforementioned iconic memes, made her out to be another dark-skinned Sapphire, almost like a seductress she plays throughout her season. The Reality of the Gays, a critical analysis for Flavor of Love, focuses on how the structure of the show's framing of Flav aligning with rap culture, but also the male gaze, coined by Laura Mulvey, the male-dominant gaze, by illustrating Flav's willingness to maintain and perpetuate a masculine ideology that encourages the sexual objectification and domination of women, and by New York's portrayal of a black woman's eagerness to be used as a sexual satisfier for men, like a modern-day Jezebel. With all of these images being brought to the table in the most popular iterations of reality television, impact on young women and African American youth have shown that these images have become increasingly more and more able to capitalize, even from the ideas originating from people of color themselves. Internet comedic personality Drewski created a series in inspiration of Flavor of Love with the concept of women coming in and living in a mansion pining for his affection, with auditions for these women showing the reason why they should be casted onto the show, showing Drewski a specific trait, reason that they like him, or something that is very surface level, or something that is explicitly sexual, that one can only wonder what's the real purpose of the show originally. Another television show presenting the same narrative ideas is Baddies, also made by the channel Zeus and ran by an earlier breakout star of the original series, Natalie Nunn, simply just making a spin-off with the girls who had the most conflict, or storylines with women of internet culture who are known to get into the most drama, displayed in the spin-off, such as internet breakout girl Krishan Rock, who previously is known to get into many altercations during the time with her one ex-boyfriend, Blueface, who is a rapper, missed a wave of drama and altercations during her seasons of the series. Many different seasons of Baddies displayed the same concepts and the same formula as the original show, but just heightened the yearn for conflict and clout, as many different seasons seem to have a new TikTok sound or Instagram blow-up post, continuing with the concept of the digital blackface. Since these sounds and memes circulate through many young people of color's form of media and social outlets, they are introduced to these images and stereotypes at a young age, bringing the notion of the Sapphire and Jezebel to younger and younger audiences, setting a continuous negative depiction and not enforcing positive imagery in which should be depicted. So, what does this mean for media as a whole? In the end, media, even though through a lens of narrated reality of life, is just for entertainment. Common narratives made by Capital Studios to package types of media for people to enjoy, regardless if it's good or bad. As the nuanced idea would have it, not every piece of media is negative as this media is, and does present people of color in affluent positions, homes, communities, and common connections with each other with small moments, even in these shows. Although we should be aware of these stereotypes and negative imagery, we should make positive images and media without these images regardless.